Is this the beginning of the end for social media and library marketing? Or am I just being overly dramatic or speaking blasphemy? We're going to get into it in this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hey there, everyone. My name is Angela Hursh. I'm the author behind the blog, superlibrarymarketing.com. And you can head there and click on the Library Marketing Show tab to suggest a topic for a future episode of this show or nominate your library or another library for Kudos. We have a fantastic nomination that came in, so we're going to reveal who's getting Kudos in this episode a little bit later. First, if you're watching me on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. You want to be notified every time one of these videos is uploaded. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, just follow me and you'll get the same notification. Okay, I know you all are going to have a lot of feelings about this, but I want to talk about it. Social media and library marketing. For a very long time, libraries have relied on social media to help them spread the word about events and collection items, to connect with community members, especially those who are non-card holders. But I think we are seeing the beginning of the end of the use of social media for effective library marketing. And you can totally disagree with me. And in fact, I would love to hear what you think down in the comments. But here's where I'm coming from. I recently heard a podcast episode from a former speechwriter for the White House. The guy's name is Jon Favreau, not the movie director. I'll put a link to this podcast that I was listening to in the show description if you're watching on YouTube, or the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. The show is called Offline, and he did a whole interview with someone who was basically saying, you know, we might be seeing the end of social media. People, regular users, are just becoming disenfranchised with it. There's a lot of toxicity, and people are moving away from social media. Your library may have seen your follower count dropping, and you may also have noticed that many platforms are starting to show content to people who are not following your accounts because follower count is dropping. I also have been reading many articles about states in the US and countries around the world who are banning the download of apps like TikTok to government-issued devices. Many libraries are using a device specifically for social media marketing, and these laws make it impossible for them to post on social media. And I kind of wonder if it's going to spread. So I think we can, if it is the end for social media, it's going to take it a long time to die. So we can use this time now to diversify our marketing, because it's been risky to rely on social media for this long. So let's take some time in 2023 to diversify our marketing. Number one, I really want you to focus this year on creating partnerships with organizations in your community who can help you to reach your overall library goals. People who have audiences at their disposal that you need to get to that you can't get to through other means. So think about who you want to partner with. Partnerships take some time to tend, so let's start doing that now. Number two, you knew I was going to say this, your email list. It's your golden ticket. If you have not begun to actively promote the fact that people can sign up for emails from your library, that's a big thing that you should be doing in 2023. And you can use social media to do that. Let your audience know they can get great content from you on your email list without all the toxicity and craziness of social media. Number three, a lot of libraries are turning to podcasts as a way to create connection and build relationships with their community. A podcast takes some time to put together. It's more labor intensive, certainly, than creating a social media post, but it's more effective. You get to talk to your community member in their ear intimately for however much time your podcast lasts for. That is an incredibly effective piece of marketing. So I want you to start thinking about whether your library has the capacity to create a podcast. If you don't, a partnership with a like-minded organization in your community could be a good way to get your information out. So that's just something to think about. And then number four, many libraries have not yet started a blog. I know also it's more labor intensive to write a blog post than it is a social media post, but it is incredibly valuable marketing, and you can take that blog post and repurpose it on every other platform, on your emails, on bookmarks, on your digital signs, on social media if you're still posting. So the goal for 2023 is going to be to diversify your marketing just in case. I'm going to put the link to both some articles about states banning TikTok and that podcast I was talking about offline down in the show description if you're watching on YouTube, or in the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. And again, let's start a conversation about this. Where's your head at when it comes to social media? I am dying to know. Let me know in the comments. Okay, it's time to give away our kudos for this episode. And I know that it's January, it's past the holiday season, but I got this nomination late in the year and I wanted to share it with you. Kudos today goes to the Cobb County Public Libraries in Georgia. They were nominated by another person from another library system in a completely different state for an end of year video. So a lot of libraries do stats, release their stats in an infographic or in a blog post or in a bunch of social media posts, and those are all great. Cobb County made a super cute video with staff members, and it's just adorable and really awesome and fun to watch. I'm going to put a link to it down in the show description if you're watching on YouTube, or the comments if you're watching on LinkedIn. Thank you to Jennifer, who nominated the Cobb County Public Libraries, for turning in that kudos nomination. Remember, you can do the same thing at superlibrarymarketing.com. That's all we have for this episode, but I always have more advice for you. Just click on the link and head to the next episode. I'll see you there.